So instead, Cloud9 would be like, oh, all Lie by Power does is just try to like humiliate us. Like if they're beating us, they purposely just like try to shit on us extra hard and rape us 28-2. And then if I ask Lie by Power, you're going to tell me like, oh, it's no point playing Cloud9, you know, like it's too easy. And then even if you get a proper game, like Semphis, if he starts losing, is just going to buy a shotgun.
That was
so
my complaint,
yeah. So the problem is both teams are telling me this shit, but I'm like, you know, if you both just stopped doing that stuff, at least you'd have two teams. You'd have two that practiced. Was it really impossible for people to just practice properly?
It's tough to put your ego aside, man. There are rivals, right? Like at that point, there are rivals. We play them every like final of every North American LAN. You know, we're fucking always at the top with them. And at that point, because a lot of it is also like psychological too, right? Like that. I mean, yeah, we could put our ego aside, but both teams have the ego. It's not like one's more at fault than the other. Both teams want to just fucking smash each other at this point, right? Like both teams, like it's a rivalry, dude. Like we fucking hate each other, to be honest. Not outside of the game, but inside the game, we fucking hate each other. We want to beat each other. So yeah, when we would practice, that would definitely happen. It's the thing. I talked to Sean about this too. And I told him, I'm like, yeah, man, when we practice against each other, it's like, this is what happens, okay? We'll be like 5 rounds in. It's like 3-2 or something. One person would see someone do a scrimmy play, jump through a smoke, and the fucking gloves are off, dude. Like before that, we're playing against each other with like boxing gloves, right? Like we're sparring and shit like that. You know, it's good practice. The gloves come off. It's a complete street fight, dog fight. We're fucking gouging each other's eyes out. It's a bloodbath. It's fucking retarded. As soon as one person does one thing that they think is scrimmy, even if it's not even really scrimmy to the person that's doing it, you know? Like for instance, if we pushed out Banana on Inferno and someone like early flanks while they're hitting A, gloves are off, dude. It's just a fucking shit show after that. Seriously, that's kind of how it was. Back, it's fucking hilarious. But yeah, at the time, we definitely should have taken it more seriously and have had more of a gentleman's agreement, so to speak. But it is what it is.
So that was actually the moment, the one where you let Cobblestone your permaban through. And here's the key thing people need to understand. They let Cobblestone through a map they never played when they actually had all 6 other maps in the map pool. Like you had one of the widest map pools in the world. So when this happened, and I remember I actually asked you about it the next event, I was like, what the fuck was going on there? And you basically told me, like, I had to go with what my players were comfortable with. And I don't know if you want to mention the player, but one of the players even told you, I would rather play Cobblestone than play Train, if it comes down to that. So in this moment, first of all, I was like, well, this team's in trouble. But then I also did kind of think, this probably isn't. This feels like it's like the start of the end for Carrigan. Like that's if people are pushing back on you when you're like, no, we're better than them on this. Like, listen, trust me. If they can't even like trust the map pool part, isn't that kind of like where it starts to erode the idea that you're the captain? You know, you make the decisions.
Yeah, I also think, like I said, it had a big effect of me not believing in that. When I picked Train against NIP, I think that was one of the things set off to question my veto. And since that day and the whole Astralis era, I've included all players in the veto to make sure it cannot backfire me, even though I really forced picking Train back in the days against NIP. That, like, I want all players to be on the same page here. That we everybody is satisfied playing this map. Is everybody having a issue playing that map? And that is how I did from there on in the whole Astralis career. And I have also started doing it in phase, but they're just telling me, just veto how you want. We believe in you. Even though I still have this for 1 year, all the time wants to talk with my team about the veto if they have some inputs towards that. So they're just telling me just veto, we don't really care.
What I guess triggers me the most is when people aren't able to just be like, okay, this is the criticism. I'm going to take the criticism. That's it. You know, if someone's getting angry at me because I'm doing the same thing over and over 5 times in a row, and they told me 5 different times, starting from calm and getting, you know, progressively angry, and I'm still fucking it up. Like, I understand they're getting angry. I'm not going to like shut down emotionally or mentally because they're getting angry and yelling at me. I'm going to take this criticism. I'm going to learn from it. I spent years in CS Source getting yelled at. Like, most famously, I played with like Remix and Schaefer and stuff like that. And they were just yelling at me anytime I made a mistake. And it kind of gave me a sort of mental fortitude. So I guess part of that experience is I started getting angry or frustrated at other people. And like if I saw, for the example, when I was making those comments to you, you were doing like a cast with someone and you kept interrupting. I'm just like, dude, like you make good points, but you need to stop talking when this other guy is like talking in the middle of a round. And it's like, it was something that annoyed me, and probably my presentation of it wasn't the nicest, but that's not something that was ever kind of in my mind. And I mean, fuck, dude, I'm socially awkward as fuck. I don't know what to say in a lot of situations. Yeah. I'm probably like borderline Asperger's. I don't know. I just don't know what to say sometimes. So I just say it like really, I'm just really abrasive kind of.
There's something to this sort of war with Mo now, right?
So like originally, like the first war we got into was like the whole issue with when he got banned for cheating from ESEA and everything. And that was kind of like, I was kind of like trying to message him and be like, yo, this is just a joke. Like, I'm like the video, like we were on an argument. He's like, I'm never going to talk to this guy again until he apologizes to me. So I made the video where I was like doing the apology. And I'm like, fuck you, Mo, like you lying, cheating scum, whatever. Like that was kind of like, we weren't planning it. It was like, it wasn't planned drama, but it was just like, in my mind, it was like something that we could get over. But the latest drama type of thing was just like how my life's been going, and you know, especially like the last 2.5, 3 years, it's been very difficult to stay friends with people that kind of like abuse your trust like that. And like I told Mo a lot of things. He knew a lot about me, and he would kind of use that as leverage or ammunition on stream. And I really didn't like that. And then like, I don't know what the fuck happened, but he's completely changed as a human. And he started like saying all this shit about me. Like I was a fake friend and I only did this for money, or I only did this, like I was only his friend for money, or I was only his friend because of this or that. I'm like, this doesn't make sense, but I'm just going to stay the fuck out of it. You know, it's not worth my time. It's not worth my mental health. It's stressing me the fuck out. I need to back the fuck up.
This is where it gets weird, mate, because this is the part of the story I didn't know, because Zonic revealed it in his biography. Apparently, when he brought you in to do the interview with you, first of all, listen, you're obviously a younger man, but you made some bad mistakes in that interview. Like, for example, apparently you told him, this is just from his book, you can tell me if it's true or not. Apparently you told him in the book, like, look, all I want to do, boss, is play. I don't want to do any media. It's like, if you're in a team like Astralis, like, you have to do media, mate. That's just part of being Astralis. But then the other part, this is the part I didn't know, is apparently the timing of this was exactly when, for some stupid reason, you got in a fight with me on Twitter. Like, I did some, like, I can't even remember what it was, just some comment towards someone. Not even some, like, outrageous one if anyone goes back and look. It's nothing, like, super evil or something. And you just, like, were pissed off or something that day, and you just, like, got in an argument with me. And apparently this is, like, right when you were trying to get into Astralis. So apparently Zonic saw that and was just like, right, fuck this guy's out. Like, bring in the next guy, bring in me. Is this true? Is this story real?
It is for the most part, yeah. I think that I've made some bad decisions in my life, and I'm trying to fix it now, and I think that I'm on the right track. And I think the Astralis story with Sonic, and I came late. I even came late to the meeting, and I came late because I was at North, at the place North, and I had to drive from Parkin to my apartment to make it for the call on TeamSpeak to talk about roles, and we talked about. We had to talk about roles and how I like to play, and I was in a meeting with Glaive and Sonic, and I said to them that North, they really tried to put me into a lot of media stuff, and I had a depression at that time actually. Like I was stressed, I didn't sleep, I was on medication to sleep, and I couldn't eat anything because I was so stressed that North had put so much pressure on me because I was the individual name. Sure. In North, and I said to them, I'm not doing any more media stuff. I'm not coming up for media. I only want to play. And I said the same thing to Astralis, and I think it was a good choice that they didn't have picked me back then because I was a mess. But it's honestly sad. Like I wish I would have joined back then, but I think it was for the better that I didn't join them, because I don't think I would have made them a better team.
for the last few years, everyone loves Apex. Everyone thinks he's a great teammate, and he's really turned his reputation around. But I heard that in CSGO for the first few years, a lot of the people who used to be in like the teams with Apex before, where he then left, or, you know, obviously he did this with the French Shuffle, where he came over to you guys in Titan. People think that he was kind of like, this is kind of the way he did things. He was kind of like a snake in the grass, you know, he was always looking for like his next angle, he was going to do something.
He was looking for the best all the time, yeah. Like, not for the necessarily the best, but yeah, I think, I think he wanted to leave from CS. You know, like he was like back then. He was a lot of an opportunist person, I would say.
Opportunist, yes.
Yeah, very opportunist. Yeah, and like even when we had the chance to create a team with Neo and Taz, he really wanted to do it, and you know he was really like, he could have like swayed, you know, he was opportunist and easy to influence. So yeah, I think the fact that it was not professional back then was, yeah, I think he was kind of a snake. I mean, I love him. He's my friend. Sure. But yeah, he was kind of a snake.
It's okay. It's changed now. It's no problem. Yeah. Again, it's like the existence thing. It's all funny when you look back now. It's not at the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Was it similar for you? Did this tournament make you start to wonder, like, is there something wrong with existence at majors?
Yeah. Of course. I think so. Yeah. I think Katowice was kind of like the moment where we realized that, yeah, because at some point back then, existence had like, you can feel that he felt more tension during a major. He was not the same player, the same person. Like, he meant good. He wanted to put himself in the best conditions, but at the end of the day, it was just like adding pressure on himself. And yeah, I think that's where we kind of realized that he was cursed. And then we had the shuffle, and then, you know, he just kept losing in group stage, and
exactly.
And the curse kept going, and every French players that went into it, and there's like, that was one of the reasons why he was kicked from G2, you know, like,
for sure, yeah.
And like, that's really crazy to think that there is such thing as curse, you know.
Well, here's the thing. I mean,
but there is. There is.
Exactly. Yeah. The point is, it's not magical. It's something inside his head, right? It just affects him differently. I mean, obviously, players have different problems against. I mean, famously, sometimes just against one team or something. And yeah, it's true. Again, at majors, there's only one he ever did good at, and it was the first one. So doesn't really feel, it feels logical that there's a curse, right? People have seen you were very instrumental in this team. You were someone helping bring people in. A lot of players you have connections with over the years. So how does it end up that you get kicked out of what people think was your own team?
Okay, so we had a lot of troubles. We lost a lot of tournaments. We went out in group stages, etc. Sure. But when we were in Columbus, FaZe hired a new guy, like taking care of the team. I'm not gonna mention his name. So he called me after we went out against Fnatic. He called me like, we need to have a meeting with you and ZBM, the manager, and Robin, the coach, and some of the FaZe owners. So I went to the meeting, and they sat down, and they said, "Do you want to kick you or Fox?" They asked me. And I said, "I don't want to kick anyone." And then they said, like, "But you have to choose. Like, if you have to choose, and you have to choose, who would you pick?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to, like, I still want to play. So, yeah, that Fox, I guess." But at that time, I didn't think either me or Fox was a problem in that team. We had one other player in the team that was more of a problem, in my point of view, that we had to change. And so they asked me, like, "Yeah, but who do you want to kick, you or Fox?" And I remember after this meeting, I came to the hotel, and I was sharing a room with our manager, CBM, which I know really good in real life as well. we're good friends, and I said to him like, I'm gonna leave the team. This is bullshit.
You said that at one point in time, MSL was like your best friend. Well, I know that when he kicked you, it wasn't just like, okay, listen, this is just business, no hard feelings. Both of you actually had pretty hard feelings against each other for a while after that. There was some sniping back and forwards I saw on Twitter sometimes. So what were the circumstances of getting kicked? It sounds like it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, combination of a lot of things. As we talked about just before, like it was a very frustrating period for me. Like going from being this like highly great performing player, going from believing in that we just needed this last touch and we would be able to fight TSM every time, we would be able to get into finals, and like those losses against Envious and Astra or TSM and like those semifinal losses were so hard on us. Then when we actually faced like real. Like when we actually faced the fact where we were not even able to like get out of the groups and we played horribly, it was very hard for me, like really, really hard for me, and it led to frustration, and it led to not acting in the same way and as when it was going well for us, and that's something I guess I regretted, or something I look back at and think that's not good. You know, that's a learning experience for sure. Is if you can have a great attitude when things are going well, then you sure as hell also can have it when you're losing, you know, because otherwise it's not working. And I didn't have that. It's fair to say. That, and we had like a lot of problems internally. Like we had the whole Snyder episode where he managed to fuck up as bad as we had to kick him a week before a major, you know. And
yeah,
it's like I don't even want to get into the specific. He knows it, and he should just be thankful that we never really put that out.
Released the info, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like he must have forgotten that, Snyder. He must have forgotten.
Everyone needs a support network, and mine is, of course, my Patreon community, the Scrominati, who, in many ways, they're the Sonny to my Cher, saying, "I got you, babe." So this video and all the others on my channel were kindly supported by the following names: Ahmed Hadjou, Matt Pugnatio, Rajcula, Adam Tomlin, Animosity, Jensen Goh, Tosh, Toucan, and you know it. Jerky's Minion, my main man, always going to be referenced, one of the best patrons of all time. Would you like to ask a question in my AMA? Maybe you want to suggest a topic or a guest to say on my channel? Do you want teasers? Find out who the upcoming Reflections and Talk to Thorin interviews are. Maybe you want to do one of those long discussions where you get to set the topics we talk about. Well, if any of these or others appeal to you, put your money where your mouth is. Join the Scluminati today via the Patreon link in the description box below.